talk few ideas about elliptic curve cryptography. So basically, I will talking about elliptic curves. So elliptic curve cryptography is like was talked by Rohan. So I will just go through the basic ideas of elliptic curve. What do you mean by elliptic curve, and how can we develop group operation on that ECC or not ECC elliptic curve. So so basically, what do you mean by an elliptic curve? So it's like a regular polynomial equation only. So, but it has some, the definition is totally different from that regular polynomial equation. So the proper definition for an elliptic curve is basically given by this. The elliptic curve is defined over ZP because it's defined on ZP because we are dealing with, we want that for in crypto systems. So in crypto system, we mainly deal with finite fields. So we define it over ZP and we choose P such that it is greater than 3. Then all the set of all points x and y element of ZP such that y square is congruent to x cube plus ax b mod p. And we add one more interesting is like we add imaginary point of infinity, which I have written over as theta. So using this, we get a definition of an elliptic curve. So and one more condition for defining a and b such that we choose a and b such that 4a cube plus 27b square is not equal to 0, as last in during the last or last before the lecture. So this equation is called singularity equation, I think. So is I'm correct? Is that equation is called singular equation, right?
Equation is not singular or like that.
So that you told that what is some reason is for
No,
that,
no,
right?
no, no, no. If it is equal
Just
to
one.
0, the curve is called singular curve.
Okay, okay, acha. Okay,
So
And this,
depending upon this, yeah. Otherwise, it is non-singular curve. Curve is called singular or non-singular depending upon the discriminant. It is called
okay.
discriminant.
yeah,
Discriminant, okay.
You know earlier also b square minus 4ac, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like that, it is called discriminant. In 3 by 3 polynomial, every polynomial has discriminant. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, we choose A and B such that it follows this condition 4a cube plus 27b square is not equal to 0. So this is how an elliptic curve looks like. So one elementary question is like, first, what's your observation while seeing this picture? Any observation?
It is symmetric about x-axis.
Yes, 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 yes. Exactly. It's symmetric about x-axis, and you will always find a solution at x is equal to 0. So this is how elliptic curves looks like. And we will try to define group operation. Before that, before defining group operations is like, so it's basically the group operation defined in elliptic curves are basically, we can define addition group over there in elliptic curves. So how additions are defined in a elliptic curve? So what we do is like, here I have an elliptic curve, so I have choose the point P and Q. So when we try to draw a line over P and Q, it intersects at the point R, and what we do is like take the mirror image of that R. So this is the point R. So that's how we get addition is done in the elliptic curve. So similarly, we have another idea of called point doubling. Basically, point
No.
doubling basically, yeah. Hello.
Before that, actually, now what is the p plus q that you not told? Okay, you are taking mirror image. Finally, conclude.
So, okay, so P plus Q is like, I have an element P and a Q over here. I have drawn a line which joins 2 points, and it intersects at another point over here. That's minus R, which you saying. We take that mirror image of that. So that point is basically R. P plus Q is equal to R.
Right. Yeah.
So here one more question.
Excuse
Yeah,
me.
hello?
So are you talking about the condition that P plus Q plus R should be 0, right?
No, we are defining an addition over here.
Okay.
So another idea is like point doubling. It's called what happens if P and if Q. What happens if Q is equal to P? So for that, just a second. So when I bring P and Q over at the same point, so what we get is the tangent over here at point P. So again, the idea remains the same. It's like when P and Q is equal to same, so we draw tangent at P, and the point where it intersects, we take the mirror image of that. So this idea is called as point doubling. So that's how the addition operation is defined on elliptic curves. And okay, so that's how the addition properties are defined on elliptic curves. So, and this is the for identity, what we do is like we take the point of infinity. The point of infinity uh, acts as the identity over here. And for inverse, what we do is like we find a point which gives out the identity. So from the figure, it's like, okay. Just a second, like P has vanished.
Is it GeoGebra or Desmos?
No, it's Desmos.
Okay.
So GeoGebra is, I think it's in latex. I think it's like we can draw pictures and stuff like that.
Right.
Uh, so okay, so this minus r acts as the identity over here. So the main basically intuition idea is like when we get an r over there, so what we have to do is like we take the negative part of the y. It's like if I'm getting at a point r as like, some point at r is like x comma y, so the negative the inverse part will be like x comma minus y. So that's how the inverse is defined basically. And even the associative properties is also satisfied. So in that way we can define suggest அம்மா கொஞ்சம் மம்மி முடிஞ்சா. So in that way we can define the addition, identity, and inverse and associative properties in the, what do you say, elliptic curve. So in that way we can conclude that we can define a group operation, addition operation on elliptic curve. So there's an analytic expression for that, finding that what I talked about is like taking the tangent and stuff like that. So this is the point. Actually, this is the expression is like if you want to find the in a written form is like how you can find that. So we can use these formulas to find that. So this is the idea of taking the tangent basically. So we take the tangent of y2 minus y1, and we try to find that about the r point and stuff like that. So this is how we define the group operations basically on elliptic curves. And what we do is after defining group operations, we try to find a cyclic group around the elliptic curve. When we find the cyclic group, we define that discrete log problem on that cyclic group. So that was actually done by Rohan. So he explained during the last lecture. So how we can define that Diffie-Hellman and stuff like that. So this is the basic understanding, is like basic ideas. How can we define the group operations on elliptic curve?
Okay. Anything else you want to say?
So one more question I wanted to ask: is the elliptic curve abelian group? So
It is. Yeah. Okay, that is okay. But see, earlier you told that you take a cyclic group.
Yeah.
It is cyclic subgroup of it.
Yes. Yeah.
So you take
That's all.
P is a very large, and so that the advantage of elliptic curves is that here the key is very small. We can choose very small key
Yes.
because
Compared to
of
RS.
those operations, RSA and other things. It is we can create a public key crypto system by using Diffie-Hellman approach. Means algorithm system, but sorry, discrete logarithm problem. Sorry, correct way is that discrete logarithm problem we are using. But the advantage is that here key size is smaller and all, because already the operations are little complicated. So that is helping to, with a small key also, whatever the security we are getting in RSA and other places will get here. That's why people came, and that is one application. But there are many other applications. Now elliptic curves are used even in the factorization of the polynomial.
Yeah.
Many other advantages are there. Yeah. So now over to your question. So all of you. So he is asking that is it a commutative or not? So the way he defined P plus Q is a q plus p and p plus q are same? That is what he's asking.
I think yes.
Yeah, it will be the same
Because,
because it's just this. We are just joining two dots, right?
Yes.
2 points.
Yeah, right. It is a line, so same line QP or PQ. Yeah, correct. So it is abelian. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's abelian, and so we have that when we define the cyclogroup, we have another theorem also. It's like Hess's theorem to find that bounds. It's like how many points you want that. So after finding that points, we can define a DL problem over there.
Actually, this one there are other things like there is a thing called continued fractions. So for some people combine these two also. Like that,
Okay.
a lot of applications are available. So one can only elliptic curves applications of elliptic cryptography are very vast area. Okay, yeah, okay then. We can also prepare now. You know that once we have a public key crypto system, then automatically by using that we can prepare digital signature, right?
Yes.
So whenever you have one public key crypto system, then you can associate systematically. We can associate a digital signatures. So there are a discrete digital signature associated to this also, right? And even digital signatures itself are a lot of different types are coming. Blind signatures, many different types are coming. They have a lot of applications in eCash and many other purposes. So people are now, whenever you have one public key crypto system, they are trying to construct different things related to that. Yeah, and here also that all of works are done. That is my point is. So even with elliptic curves, a lot of digital signatures are available. Many other applications, whatever there in other cases, they are available even here also. On the top of it, it has separate applications like primality testing and factorization problems, many other things. Yeah. So
So
you
this is the thing which I was saying last time. Is like we can find what kind of an algorithm that website is using. So for example, right now I'm sharing the screen. So Desmos is basically using SHA-256 with RSA encryption.
okay. Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Good. Thanks.
So yeah, thank you, sir.
Any other questions to ask Vikram? Okay, that's fine. So any one of you want to say your presentations? Any one of you ready? So I think Nikita is one person I had told here.
Yes, sir.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, is not coming confirmly. Okay, anyhow, go ahead.
Yes, sir. No, it's ready.
You are ready. Okay. So do you want to present?
Yeah, sir.
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
Just a minute, sir.
Sure. Sonal, are you finding anything? Birthday attack is better for you. Birthday attack problem is there. That will be better, Sonal. I don't know whether you are listening to me. Yeah, it is visible. Go ahead, Nikita.
Okay. So my topic is transposition cipher. So in this transposition cipher, we will see it transposition cipher and we have seen already a substitution cipher and its types. So transposition cipher is also little different than it, but it's it is also a simple type of cipher. And in substitution cipher, as we have what we have done is we have substituted or replaced the letters in the plain text, whereas in here in transposition cipher is nothing but jumbling of the our plain text or words or letters in the plain text. So in a small example of this, we can see the plain text here. I have wrote that it's snow flower. So in here we can from transposition cipher we can jumble up the letters and words. So this is the second uh, word of the plain text written reverse form. So we have totally reversed the plain text, and in the similar manner we can just reverse the word to word without, means we can reverse the words without reversing the whole plain text. So transposition cipher is more, we can say with this that the transposition cipher is different than the substitution cipher, since we are not substituting, the plain words in the plain text are as such in the cipher text as well. So we can clearly see that the methods that we use in substitution cipher for breaking won't work in this transposition cipher. So, and that's the reason this is little more secure than the substitution cipher, but we can't say that it's totally secure though. That we will see why it's not totally secure, but it's more secure than the substitution cipher. And here we can as in substitution we can substitute the punctuation marks and all with the letters for more security, but here we can't do that. So what we have to remove those for transposition cipher to be more secure. And then a transposition cipher is really a good example for the in crypto system, since it's been used from ancient times. This is one example how the transposition cipher was used in ancient times. Like this is called this uh, device, or this rod is nothing is called cytel, which was used in the ancient Greeks, by the ancient Greeks, for communicating secret messages. So it is a rod with a particular decided faces, and there was a strip of this, as you can see, this is nothing but strip on which the words are written of the messages. So if we just look at this strip, it doesn't make any sense, but when we wrap that strip around this rod, we can read the message for each face. So this device is nothing but transposition, is a good example of transposition cipher, since if we consider just the letters on this strip, it's nothing but jumbling of the words and writing it on the strip of the paper in such a way that after wrapping it around this rod, it makes sense for the message. So here just one drawback or something that we should take care was the rod should be same for the sender and the receiver. And then we have that was an example for how the transposition cipher was used from the ancient times also. So now
But,
there are various
yeah.
types of, yes sir.
Before going, any questions? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you go to previous slides and let them ask any questions you have?
Any questions? Means you all got right what's basically a basic idea of transposition cipher?
Yes.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
proceed.
So there are, as substitution cipher also had various small types of that. So similarly in transposition cipher we have few types of ciphers under it. So first we will see what's Rel-Finch cipher. In Rel-Finch cipher is nothing but we jumble the message in a little convenient way. Here we need to draw a grid like this. So for encryption what we do is we have example for it, we have taken snowflower blossoms. So we draw a we decide a particular rows priorly, which is nothing but the key. So first we have given the key as 3. So we will draw a grid or a table of with rows 3, that is our key, and our number of columns will be nothing but the number of letters in our plain text. So in the similar manner we will draw a table or a grid, and then here we will write our plain text in a zigzag manner. As you can see we have written here S, N, O. So in such a way we have to write it diagonally, zigzag manner, so that we have to fit the message in this table. And in case, as you can see I have inputted at the last X, since this is to complete the zigzag pattern in this grid, we can input X. We can skip the X also for increasing the security of this encryption, but we can also write fill on the null space with X. So in this way we have to fill this grid. Now after filling the grid we will write the ciphertext in a manner as we read off each row. So each row means here the ciphertext will go as S, F, E, O, M, and then the second row, and then the third row. So we should write the ciphertext row wise without spacing. If you want we can put a without spacing so that it becomes more secure. And in the similar way we and this is how it encrypts. Now for decryption what we have given is the key. What we need important is key. If we are known with the key and the ciphertext, then we start constructing a grid with the rows as the key and the columns as the length of the ciphertext. Once we make the grid, first we will fill the first row with the ciphertext. So how we will fill is, first we will write the first letter in the first block as S, then go in the diagonal manner downwards till the last row, but in there we will fill on the dash, since we don't know what will be the entries in those blocks. So after reaching the last row, again diagonally we will go upwards till the first row, and then after coming in the first row we will fill that block with the second letter of the ciphertext. In the similar manner we will go in zigzag manner till the end of the block, once we till the end of the columns. So once we reach the end, afterwards we will fill on the second row wherein there are dashes we have filled. Instead of the dash we will fill on the next letter after the M, which will be here, as you can see here it's N. So as we go we will fill on the second row instead of the dashes, then the last row, and then we can read off the our plain text in the zigzag manner. What it is nothing but snowflower blossoms. Here just spacing we have to think of our own, put on our own little logic that what makes sense to put on the space in the plain text. And this was as you can see this was an really a little easy one, but in this we have used the grid. So for a small messages it's really easy, but for bigger messages doing it with hand it will be little difficult, but with the help of the computers we can make a program in such a way that we can do it. It's not like little impossible. But here just one problem is there. We have to take care rather than problem that the if there is the length of the message should be and the row those should be in an appropriate manner, like the length of the message should be double or 3 times greater than the number of rows, so that it makes a zigzag pattern, or else it will just come in a diagonal manner without making a zigzag pattern like this. And we can if we put an x here, then we can immediately identify that we have used nulls. So I have skipped we can skip the x or instead replace x with any other letter for the null entries. So it's very simple type of transposition cipher and little secure. And one another type of we can in this real French, one more thing we can add is like for spaces, as you can see there's space in after the snow, there's space, then flower space. So for more security of the cipher, we can include these spaces while encryption in a way that we can keep a block blank, like in here we have entered the snow, then a block is blank here to indicate the space, then flower, then one block is blank, and then blossoms. So after this, while encryption, we will put the encrypt in the similar way that we have seen, but we will include the spaces also while writing the ciphertext. So it makes it a little more secure. This was the real French cipher. So any questions? Okay, so next is another type of transposition cipher is root cipher. This is also a really easy type of cipher, and here we have key rather than a number. It's a number along with a root given to us, in which we have to a route which we have to follow for the encryption. So for this we are given a plain text, so we will see how it's done. So for the plain text we will take its same snow flower blossoms, but here the key we have given a number of columns as key as a number of columns as 5, or we can even have number of rows as well, but here I have taken key as number with number of columns as 5 and root with spiraling inward from top right. So what it means is we have to first make a grid box or table and write out plain text row wise, like snow flower blossom. So it will go, it first fill up the first row, then fill up the second, and then third, and then fourth row, sorry. And then what we do that use the root that we have given, that spiraling inwards from top right, means from here. So from here we have to go in this manner. So first, while writing the ciphertext, we will go in this route and write it, the ciphertext. So we will follow this route. So after following this route, we get this ciphertext. Now we can take any other route as well for this same table. Like if we take this route as column wise, so we should write it in a column wise, like first column, then this second column, then this third column, then fourth column, in this way. And then this we can take many different other routes as well, but that routes are given priorly, so it as a key. So first, for in this way we encrypt this. Now for decryption, we have to just go a little in a reverse manner, you can say. So for what we need is a number of rows or columns and a root which we need to use for this decryption, or which was used for encryption. We have to know these two things, and then we should construct. For that, first what we will do is construct a table with the given number of rows or columns. So here again we will decrypt this ciphertext, which is nothing but this one only, but how we will go in a decryption, that we will see. So for this ciphertext with the same number of columns, that 5, and spiraling inward from top right. So how we will do is, first we will make the table and then fill up the table for with the given route that was going spirally inward. So in this manner we will fill this table, and after filling this table we will get our final table, and then we should read this row wise so that we get our plain text. So if we read it row wise, we will get this plain text. Since the last entries we get as XX, so it's that it's obvious that they are the null entries. Now this root cipher is a way better way for jumbling out the message what we have to transmit. So it has really simple steps to follow. And just here one more thing we should be taken care of is we should choose a route which is little different, like not obvious roots, since it's something that few people, by looking out the ciphertext, we many a times we can assume, or we can find out the possible roots what a person may have taken. So that's one thing, and this ciphertext is only limited to the imagination and ease of communication of the roots, since we have to imagine various kinds of roots. If we take bigger messages, there are many possibilities to consider for roots. And this root cipher, this is an interesting thing, that a root cipher was used in this American Civil War times as well, for communicating. So at that time they used to use this root cipher method for communicating, but they used to sometimes add their own letters or words at the end of the ciphertext to make it little funny and illogical. So we can also make such things, so that getting the decryption becomes difficult. And this was root cipher. Now next type is columnar transposition cipher. But before that, is root cipher clear, since this also is a kind of root cipher?
Yeah.
Okay, so as I have told, this is also a type of a root cipher, wherein we similarly construct a table, and for here just it is that when we consider the root as a columns, it becomes as a columnar transposition. So for that we will see an example which makes it little easy. So here first we will consider plain text, that snow flower blossoms in winter. So for making it little simpler to encrypt, or little more jumbling of, to increase the jumbling of words more properly, we consider in this cipher keyword as keyword for numbering the columns. So the keyword we will take is tomato. Keyword is just a keyword, nothing related to plain text. So this first we will construct a table. As you can see, last time we have constructed it. So just we here the difference is the number of columns would be the length of our keyword. As you can see, first we will write out the our keyword, and then below that we will make a table and fill up that table with our plain text. And now we will then we will number our keyword alphabetically, like A will be the first alphabet occurring, so 1, then second alphabetical, or in alphabetical order the letter will be M, so 2. In this way we will number our keyword alphabetically, that columns, and then we will read off the columns for the to get the ciphertext. We will read off the columns according to their number labeled, like here we have labeled them. So the first column would be this one, then second, then third, and then fourth. In this way we will write them in the ciphertext. The first will be this column is this one, then second column is this one. In the similar way we will write it. So this we get this ciphertext. So as you can see, it's nothing but similar to column, a root cipher with root as column. Just the difference is that here we have used a keyword to decide which column we will read first. Now the decryption process is also like similar way, like the root cipher only. Here what we have to consider is, here we have used nulls for encryption. We can, yes.
Nikita, just wait for some time. Let them come up with decryption. Somebody will tell. Give some time. You can keep as it is. Entire slide. Yeah. So let them come out. One of them can come out how to decrypt. You can mute actually now sometime. Yeah, so is anybody ready?
So I mean, I got how we will decrypt. Basically, again, write the full the keyword, and then alphabetically number the order of those keywords, and then place each row, each column at its place. But I have a question. How, like, there are two O's, right? So how does the decryptor number? Is it? Achha, okay.
If there's repetition of letters in the keyword, then in columnar we number them whichever appears first in the keyword.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, you can proceed. Yeah.
So here for before it start decryption, so we should know how to construct we need to construct this table. So we with the keyword which we have given, then we can get number of columns. But what about the number of rows? So for knowing the number of rows, what we will do is we will divide the ciphertext with the number of letters in the keyword. So how many number of letters are there in ciphertext, we will divide it with the number of letters in the keyword, through which we will get the number of columns, means the number, we will get the answer which will be the number of columns we need to construct for constructing this table.
Rows.
So rows, yeah, for knowing the number of rows. So once we know that, now then we can construct this table or grid, and then we will first, after constructing this grid, that would be for this part, like just for entering the ciphertext. So below that we will make the keyword and this numbering table. So sorry, so here I don't know if
It's
so
okay.
this is
Clear.
the,
It is clear they followed. You can go forward also.
yeah, the ciphertext that was the same for the last that example we got, or what we encrypted. So that ciphertext we will take. So the, after doing the calculation, this would 30 is nothing but the number of letters in the ciphertext, and 6 is number of letters in the keyword. So after dividing we get 5, that would be our number of rows. So 5 number of rows and 6 number of columns. So we will write down the keyword and then number the keyword accordingly, and then according the number we will fill up the columns of with the ciphertext. So first we will fill this first column, second column, then go on and fill the whole table, and after filling we will read it, this table row wise, and then we will get this our plain text. So since the last entries we can see they are X, so we will not include it, that's nothing but they are null entries. So this was when the null, and we indicate the null entries with X, but if we do not indicate, we can also encrypt a plain text without the null and without null entries, like without taking X for the nulls, we can keep this space as blank space as well and encrypt it. So in that case it becomes little difficult, since if we do this calculation we will not get a whole number. It's high possibility that we won't get a whole number, we will get a decimal number. So that time number of rows we should for that time, to get how many null spaces are there and how many rows are there, we need a simple calculation. So in that also we will this is a ciphertext wherein there is no null entries X, and same keyword tomato we have taken, and then we will decrypt it. So while decryption, what we will do is we will divide the number of letters in the ciphertext with the number of letters with the keyword, and after that we will get a decimal number. So what we should do is we will take the next whole number for that decimal number, that would be here it's 5, the next whole number would be 5. So that's nothing but the number of rows. That for if we multiply this with our this is nothing. So after that we will see how many blocks are there, that is number of 6 into 5, that 6 is nothing but number of letters in the keyword. So after knowing the number of blocks, we will subtract it with the number of letters in the ciphertext, which will give us number of null spaces in our block, how many are there. So after knowing that, what we will do is first blank out the last 4, there are here 4 null spaces, so we will just keep them blank, last 4 blocks, we will keep them blank. So here I have colored them differently. After that we will in the similar way the table is made like we have seen before, and then we will blank this and then fill up them in the number according to the number of the columns, but we won't fill anything in this last 4 blocks since that they are null. So after filling this whole table we get our plain text which we will read off row wise. And this was columnar cipher, and this is more secure, little it gains more security if we consider encrypt it without indicating the nulls with X, since it becomes we won't understand easily how many number of rows are there. We need more calculation, and so this we can do this. As we have seen, we have encrypted it just once. We can even encrypt it 2 or 3 times, like iteration type, for a particular number of times to make it more secure and difficult to decrypt. And we can this when we do it 2 times, that time that's called as double transposition cipher, and it increases the security little more significantly. And one it was used until the VIC cipher came into regular use. And the next cipher was Miss Kaushik. Sorry sir, I can't pronounce it properly. So this Mrs. Hosky transposition cipher. So is columnar cipher clear? I mean,
Yes, sir.
okay, so this is also a similar kind of cipher as that of columnar transposition. So in this we construct the grids and use of the keyword is also similar. Here just one difference is that the numbering of the repeated repeated letters in the keyword. Before we have seen that we number them according to their appearance in the keyword, whereas here we will number them same as here we have taken the same example and we have numbered the columns, but as you can see we have numbered 0 as both the zeros same, that's 3, and T as with the same number, both the T's with 4. So how we will encrypt here is we will first, as we have done in columnar, if there is no repetitive of the numbers, like if there is no repetitive of the letters in the keyword, we will encrypt it as similar as columnar transposition. Like A is not repeated, so this column we will read as it is column wise, this column only. But if this 0 is repeated, so while we come to 3 number for writing the cipher text, what we will do is, rather than going column wise, we will go row wise for just these 2 columns, that is 3, both the 3's. For these 2 columns we will write it row wise, like N, L, then W, L, and that whichever column comes first, we will start from that row, then comes this secondly appearing column with the same number. So in this way we will write it entries row wise for this particular numbered column, and in this way we will encrypt it. So as you can see, this is the first column is written as it is, second is also as it is, wherein from here we can see it is NL, WL, then SS, NT, RX, and similarly for this both the T columns it will go in the similar manner, and this is how it's encrypted. Now for decryption, the calculation for constructing the grid is similar as the columnar transposition. Just for while entering the ciphertext, we have to take we have to do the reverse process of what we did in encryption. So the grids are constructed in the similar way, like we have did calculation for the columnar, and then while filling up the ciphertext, we can see the number for 1 and 2 is not repeated, so we will fill them as it is. But for the third columns, there are 2 3 columns, so while filling them we should fill them row wise in this way, NLW, and then next letter here it will come, then next here and here, and in the similar way we should construct the whole table. So after constructing the whole table, we will get our plain text, and then in this way we can here also do various we can follow this step 2-3 times and put it in kind of 2-3 iterations to make it more secure. Like if we have to do one more time, then in previously what we got the ciphertext, we should use the same process on this ciphertext and generate another ciphertext which would be our main ciphertext. So this would be more secure kind of process if we do it in a iteration manner. And this was the Misoscu's transposition cipher. So do you any questions regarding this?
You can proceed actually. It's clear.
Next one is the permutation cipher. So the permutation cipher is similar to the permutation cipher what we have seen in our lecture, but here there is just a little difference, is that we use here table format and a keyword to make it little simpler to understand. So while constructing the we will use here, as I have said, we will use keyword for more understanding of ourselves for while constructing the table. So here we have taken the plain text as snow, flower, blossom, and then keyword we have taken as good. So here we have 4 columns. So in these 4 columns we will go on filling the plain text, and then we get the table as like this. So in these 4 columns we went on filling our plain text, and the remaining 2 columns we inserted X as null. So now we will number in the similar way, we will number this keyword in the similar way as in columnar transposition we have numbered them. Like the first appearance of O will be numbered first, and then the second appearance. Now what we will do is we will arrange these columns according to the numbers given to them, so that it looks like this. Like first column we will write it of D, then G, then third number and fourth number. Afterwards we will read this off in the row wise manner to write our ciphertext. So our ciphertext is written in row wise manner of this table. So as you can see here, the transposition we have used here is something like 1 2 3 4 manner. So now this was how we encrypt this, and for decryption it is similar, like we do the reverse of what we encrypted. Like we will first construct the table with the number of columns same as the number of letters, and the number of rows as the number of letters in ciphertext, and then we will first write them in the number wise, like 1 2 3 4 for the columns, and then write the keywords also in alphabetical order, and then fill the table with our ciphertext, and then we will arrange this. After we fill whole table, we will arrange the columns in the our keyword. Original keyword was good, so in that format we will arrange our columns, and after that we will read this row wise, and we will get our plain text. So here what is it that we can see that here this is nothing but 1 2 3 4, and here 2 3 4 1. We can see that this is nothing but a permutation kind of thing, like 1 is going to 2, then 2 is going to 3, 3 is going to 4, 4 is going to 1. So it is type of 1 2 3 4 permutation we have. Since it was difficult to write in a permutation format, here I have written it in a simple format, like just now we have used this type of permutation wherein 1 goes to 2, 2 goes to 3, 3 goes to 4, and 4 goes to 1. In the similar way, actually we can directly use the permutation format rather than considering a keyword and then using a permutation relation type of thing. You can directly use numbers and do permutation, use a particular permutation for building this encryption. But since a keyword makes it easier to form a permutation for encryption, we use a keyword here. And if we don't here also, if we don't use the nulls, it's really good, since it becomes little difficult to know the patterns used within the cipher. But and here also we can use it in an iteration form, like once we permute it with a particular permutation, second time we can encrypt it with the different permutation or with the same permutation as well. And if we decrypt our ciphertext with the reverse permutation of the with the inverse permutation that we used for encryption, we will get our plain text back. This is one thing we can observe here. And this is and here we can use various as previously we have to use our little skills to we cannot break this transposition ciphers with any particular known method, but here we can break this permutation cipher if we try out different kind of permutations. Like if we know what's the inverse permutation once known for the encryption, then we can break the we can decrypt the ciphertext quite easily. And this was permutation cipher. And next one is the combination of the ciphers.
Yeah, so can you wait sometime? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
I
so
was going to ask.
yeah, okay, but before asking, actually I am asking one question to you,
Yes,
not related to subject, but are you able to write codes for these things?
codes I have
Sage-
not tried out.
Yeah,
to
Sage
write.
code. Yeah, it is very good that you understand most of it and very clear. And you are also saying that what covered in the class, what not covered in the class. It is nice to see. But the thing is that what I want to say, there is a Kuldeep is working on this, right?
Yeah.
So Kuldeep is actually writing codes for all the cryptography side. So you need to give your codes to him. if possible, time permits you. Is it
Uh,
clear what I'm saying?
yes.
So for all of these things, so how to write? I don't know whether it is available or not. Surely it is available. So at least Railfen, Cipher, and Columnar are very famous, right? For them, codes are available already, but even then you can work out and see. So that then it will be good. Means you will give the input, I will get the cipher, you'll get the cipher, you'll get the plain text, right? So that code can be given to all the students, right? So that is a distribution of the work. You told many things, so it is better to have the code also, then it will be interesting. Yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Yes, sir. Uh, so we have seen till now we have seen 4 to 5 transposition cipher types. So now to make it more secure, there are few drawbacks of these ciphers. If we understand them properly, we can find out that if once we have the skill of understanding the patterns in the cipher text, we can understand that which type of cipher is used. So if to increase the security in this cipher, and we can use the combination of ciphers of this along with the simple transposition cipher. So as we know, simple transposition cipher is also not very much secure, since once we know which using the frequency analysis one can easily understand the like which letters are used to replace letters in the plain text, so it becomes easier to decrypt. So we can combine this simple substitution cipher along with the simple transposition cipher, that is any type of transposition cipher that we look into now. We can combine the substitution cipher with this to make a more secure cipher, which will become little more secure and like more difficult to decrypt. So in here I have considered the combination which is more secure among all the combinations we can make. So that's nothing but columnar transposition cipher and substitution cipher. If we combine this both, we get a little more secure cipher. So first we will encrypt a plain text using the columnar transposition cipher, and then what the cipher text we get using this cipher, we will encrypt it with substitution cipher using the keyword, and then then the cipher text that we get is the final cipher text. So first we will consider a plain text, this like snowflower blossoms in winter, and the keyword would be tomato. So using this we will encrypt it by using columnar transposition first. So first we will leave the blank spaces as it is instead of filling it with x, and for making it more secure, and then we will use columnar cipher on this and get our plain text plain text for our substitution cipher, which we will substitute with different letters. So for substitution we will construct a table like this. For substitution, as we know, we will substitute each letter with some different. So this is like from A to Z all the letters, and then what we will do is first we will write the keyword, like we have tomato keyword. So the letters which are there in the tomato are this TOMA, and then T and O are repeated again. So we won't, those are already used to replace A and B, so those are skipped. So only this much letters are there. So we will first write those letters according to their appearance in the keyword. So first we will write those to replace the initial alphabets, and then we will continue with the remaining alphabets. like after B, C, D, E, F, like all the remaining alphabets, we will write for this ciphertext, which we will replace the above alphabets, and then we will write our ciphertext. After we will replace the letters in our ciphertext what we got after doing the columnar transposition. So after replacing or substituting this from this table, we get this ciphertext, and this is our final ciphertext. So in this way we can combine different transposition also, like if we consider a permutation.
So I have one question here
Yes.
to all the participants that you see U, U, V, V, W, W, X, X, they are mapped adjectives. So somebody can tell that why it starts from U only. All of them are equal. I'm just a guess. I am also don't know, but just this. I'm also observing first time. But I have some answer, but I'll check with you.
So 4 letters are only used, right?
Right, okay.
So that's why the shift is only till that place, till 4 is covered.
So sorry,
Sir, I think it's because only 4 letters were shifted.
right, TOMA, right.
Once that gets covered, it will come back to normal.
But
Yes,
but my feeling is that see, out of TOMA, the largest word is letter is T, English.
Yeah.
So T also it is changed, T to S, right? Afterwards, they are all equal. Is it the true or not? So that is my actual question. Are you following what I was saying?
Yes. The largest is T, that's why.
Afterwards, it is. I think they are staying.
Yes, correct. So,
Okay.
Yeah, so means till the largest letter only it will change. After that it would be same, since there nothing to shift.
Okay. Yeah. Proceed.
And decryption also. Why for decryption of this, what we will do is first we should decrypt the substitution cipher, and I have not included this since we all know how to decrypt the substitution cipher. How we do the decrypt the substitution cipher in the similar way. Here the one thing is this, is that we have given the keyword, so using that keyword in the similar manner we will build this table of substitutions for substitution cipher, and then using this we will decrypt this given ciphertext, and then after decrypting this for the substitution cipher we will use decryption for the columnar transposition cipher that we have seen previously, and follow those steps and decrypt it, and then after decrypting the columnar columnar cipher we will get a plain text. And similarly goes for other combinations also. For decryption also we will first use substitution cipher decryption and then the particular transposition cipher decryption and get our plain text. So as I have told, this among all the combinations, this combination is more secure. Well, and then we can use other combinations also. Those are also secure, but this is little more secure. Well, this is what I have learned. The measurement of security also I don't know. It's just that it is little difficult to get the pattern within the columnar cipher transposition cipher. And then and we here as we know, for substitution cipher we use a frequency analysis to break the to decrypt. We use frequency analysis. Similarly, for the transposition ciphers we have a particular rather than a method, it's a skill which we use to under to identify the patterns we have used in the transposition cipher. So that one is called as anagrammy. It's nothing but unjumbling the words. This method or skill is used to unjumble the words. This is a kind of like little we need to have a skill or practice for understanding the pattern within the words, and this is anagramming is nothing but the skill wherein we find the words or unjumble the letters and words to find the meaning or hidden message within them. And the transposition cipher, as we know that it is nothing but the we make a pattern or jumble out the words in a particular pattern, letters of the plain text. So it this anagramming is useful in identifying those patterns and getting to know which kind of transposition cipher is used to encrypt this. And though it's little difficult, since it is not there is nothing known method, like in frequency we see which kind of letter is frequently observed in both in the plain text, and accordingly in the cipher text we see, and whichever matches the frequency we take that this letter is replaced for a particular letter in the plain text. So such a method or so called rule is not there for anagramming. It is a skill or a technique which a person should develop or have initially within them to identify pattern within a ciphertext. Since as we know that we are doing nothing, just arranging the letters of the plain text, jumbling them, mixing them, and keeping them, means whatever letters are there in the plain text, those will be there in the ciphertext. They all number would be same. So frequency analysis won't work, since the frequency would be almost same for each letter in the plain text is as in the ciphertext. So, but this can be a method to identify that we have used transposition cipher to encrypt this, but it won't help us to identify which kind of transposition cipher or method route we have used to encrypt it. So that is nothing but a skill we should develop. Or we can develop this skill like while as you all know that there's game called Scrabble. We can uh, this is one type of game in which we can develop such kind of skills, since in there we have to make or find out the words from the
Yeah, so actually
Google words, and then
many IITs and all, they will conduct some called Tekriti something. Okay, many institutes actually, technical programs. There actually cryptography people generally conduct this. So for example, IIT Kanpur pe there is a thing called Tekriti. So only cryptography persons, they will conduct games, and there are prizes will be there. What you are telling, that type of activities are going on. One can participate there also. Yeah. Okay.
yes.
Anything else you want to say?
No, that's it. This was
That's it. Yeah.
last part.
Very good. Yeah, actually you covered a
And
lot.
this is just reference. This was the site that the sir gave for the reference. Most of the things are from that
Okay.
website only, since Wikipedia was also quite similar to this.
Okay. So
website.
that is crypto.interactivemaths.com, right?
Yeah.
Simple transposition ciphers.html. Okay. So all of you note down, and so if you want to learn more about them, you can go ahead and see. And you can also play with children, right? You can teach children by these things. They will also enjoy, and some sort of skills will be developed. Okay, very good. Yeah, so you can. Oh, very good. Yeah. So any other persons? So when are you ready? So Pragati, are you ready with the next class? She is not here. Yeah, she is not here. Okay. So Kuldeep,
Yes, sir.
so when are you ready?
So, I need 15 days for all.
Okay, fine. Okay, go ahead. And so try to include as many as possible. You
Right.
can interact with Nikita, and you can interact with Rohan, other people, those who are already completed. So you can ask them to also give it to you. So write some code for you. Okay.
Right, sir. Right.
Everything at one place will be better. And also, yeah, for example, Sneha given the AES. So I don't know how easy to come do AES through. Maybe small examples. Once Vipin gave one smaller example, that those can be implemented. And also you see that Nikita at the end told that we are using substitution plus transposition ciphers. So that confusion diffusion will be used actually. AES, DES, they're all developed because of that technique. Only substitution will not work, only transposition will not work. So combination of these will help. That is the techniques people are using in AES and DES. Now in AES in particular, DES is now gone, right? Yeah.
Right.
Okay, good. Okay, so still we have time, at least half an hour. So I will present something. Okay, so that is interesting and completely new topic. So you will enjoy a bit. Okay, so let me go now. So a little bit take some 2 minutes, relax, and then we'll start. In the meantime, if you have any questions so related to anything, you can ask. So my goal is that today itself we'll try to have maximum content known to you. This is the month last in this month we are meeting the last time. So next month we almost covered everything, in the meaning that you can read on your own now. So Mac is not covered, but you know that digital signatures are much better. They will take care of all the things, right? Non-repudiation as well as authentication as well as integrity. But MACs only take care of integrity and authentication, right? So non-repudiation will not, they will not take care. So we already discussed digital signature, so you understand the MAC easily, even though I am not yet started discussed. And also we discussed little bit of hash functions, not in depth, but you are having some idea. So now you can read on your own. That's my point is. So you have entire content. Now you have 1 month time also. Now my goal is that in the next coming classes, as Shruti asked, it is better to have some question answer sessions, make more familiar with some for the exam preparation type. So I will make those things. Okay. So now one topic I want to discuss today is related to um, okay, let me open first and then share. Okay, so that is related to visual cryptography. So there is area called visual cryptography. So let me first open that. Yeah, okay. And now I'm ready to share. So are you able to see this slides?
Yeah, sir.
Okay, good. So it is a very simple topic. I do not want to. So already a lot of things Nikita and Vikram discussed, and 2 hours is a little difficult. So I'll go really slowly. Okay. So the idea is that there is a 2 comma n visual crypto. I'm going to cover only those. In general, k comma n. What is k comma n means? So I'll give something to n participants, and if any k of them will come, they'll get the secret. So I'll explain with a simple example. So you know straight line. How many points are required to construct a straight line?
2.
2 points. If I give only 1 point on a line, can you get the line? There is a line. I know the line. Okay. But now I give only 1 point on the line. Now can you construct the line?
Yes. 1 point on the line.
Oh, I give only 1 point on the line. Can you get the entire line?
No.
You can't get anything about that line, right? If I give only 1 point. Are you following my point? Right. But so for example, I have a line and I give it to 10 people, one point only. So if I give one point to one person, so what they can do independently? Are they able to get any information?
No.
No, absolutely no. Nothing they know. Only 1 point on the line if I give, and they will not know anything. But suppose Aditi, I have 1 point. Aditi has 1 point. Shruti has 1 point. Pranita has 1 point. So for example, Aditi and Pranita came. They met. Now what happens? They have 2 points now. They get the line?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now they get the line, right? Like that, if I take any 2 of them, any 2 come together, they can get the point, right? So for example, I have a lab, right? No, so I do not want to give key to a single person, single student. I do not believe it. Let's non-law. Then I will give in such a way that only 2 persons comes at least, then only they can do. Are you okay? Yeah. So whereas if I go to degree 3 polynomial, then the polynomial is of degree 3. Then how many points are required to get the polynomial? I'll repeat. The polynomial is linear, degree 1 polynomial. Y is equal to f of x. Y is equal to f of x. So now I'll give x naught, I'll get y naught, x1, y1. You remember once Rohan asked this type of question, interpolation point. Exactly that. Okay, I have a now I have a polynomial with n degree n. So how many points are required to get the polynomial?
N plus 1.
N plus 1 points are required. So then only I can get it, right? So that is the idea. Okay, so that is one example. But I'll tell you now. Visual cryptography is what? Are you able to see the picture here? So I love India. I made into n shares. So stacking up arbitrary k shares, then I'll get the picture. I love India. Otherwise, any arbitrary k minus 1 or less shares will come together. They do not get any information. Is it okay? I hope I showed you. Again, I will show you one more time, right? So I showed you earlier. I am showing one more time. So are you able to see me? Okay, I had to unshare, right? To see full thing. Okay, I'll unshare. Stop share. Yeah. So
So
now,
you don't need to unshare it.
oh, unshare, huh? Okay, but the big picture is visible, even unshare.
So you have to click on. I just have to click on your
Oh,
small
okay.
thing beneath. Then it comes.
Okay, fine. Anyhow, so I told earlier, but those who are not there, for them again I'm repeating. I have 2 transparencies and I made into I converted into given two shares. These are called share 1 and share 2. Now if I put one share on the other and I will adjoin properly, then you can see that symbol, right? Are you able to see now? You already know about the pi. This is pi, so that's why you are able to see. So that way. So, but if you do alone, then they will not get any information. Perfectly secure system. Okay. Now I'll tell you how it is going now. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. So when you think of cryptography, we think of complex computer algorithms, advanced computations. So that we already saw that. But visual cryptography schemes, VCS, is different from other cryptography schemes. What it makes different from other cryptography schemes is that the secret image is reconstructed directly by the human visual system, not computations are involved during the reconstruction. That is related to visual crypto system. But overall area is secret sharing. So secret sharing, visual cryptography is one part of it. Okay. So this scheme is so simple that even most ordinary computers can encrypt the message, and decryption can be done by anyone, anywhere, anytime without knowing anything about the cryptography. In addition, the decryption technique is easy to learn. I'll tell you. Moreover, anyone can implement flawlessly. It is even more remarkable that decryption is simple, elegant, and can be executed almost no time. The best part of it is that it does not even require a computer. Okay. The concept of visual cryptography was first proposed by Neuer and Schemer. That paper I shared with you, but reading paper may be little difficult for you. That's why I'm giving one layer of it today. Okay, so main thing is this visual cryptography scheme for set P of n participants in the cryptographic paradigm that enable secret image to split into n shadow images called shares, which each participant in P receives one share. Okay, certain qualified subsets of the participants can visually recover. I told earlier K and all, right? But in general, you can make it more elaborative, more general setup. So I can make out of these participants, some are qualified, some are non-qualified. So those qualified people come, then they can do it. Other forbidden people, they cannot look into. Okay, so I'll make into that mathematical sense. The collection of all qualified subsets is denoted by T qualified. Okay, it is a subset, it is a set, it is a collection of sets. If any of those those persons participants come, they can get the information. Okay, whereas forbidden subsets is T forbidden. So this pair is called the access structure of the scheme. Okay. A participant P is said to be essential participant if there is a set X contained in P such that X union P now belongs to T qualified, but X does not belong to T qualified. So I have set of participants. They are in T forbidden only. They are unable to get it. But if I add one more person, they are becoming T qualified. Yeah. So the key is chosen a special participant. Okay. One of the main thing is that there is a special participant D called the dealer. He has the secret. So generally we assume that D does not belong to a participant. Okay. Since D knows everything, the dealer gives a partial information called share or a shadow to each participant to share the secret key. The collection of subsets of participants that can reconstruct the secret usually monotone. Monotone means what? If X is belong to T qualified, that means X is a collection of participants. They can get the secret. Now, if I take any superset of that, then again it is possible. By adding more people does not create any problem. Okay, so that is called monotone property. Okay, so this is the picture. So there is a dealer. That dealer will give individual shareholder 111. Is it okay, Shruti, till now?
Yes, sir.
I'm not told the mechanism, but I told that this goes like this. But actually, how that shares is given, why they cannot able to get it, that we need to see now, right? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, now that I'm going to that. So for that, I just introducing a method k comma n threshold scheme. What do you mean by that? So here only k people come together, they can get it. K minus 1 or less, they cannot. Okay, out of n, k will come, they can get it. Okay, then this is called k comma n threshold scheme. N pieces of information of the secret key k called shares are distributed n participants so that the secret key can be reconstructed from the knowledge of any k or more shares of the secret key and cannot be reconstructed from knowledge of fewer than k shares. Okay. Okay. So I think so I go little and I'll come back later. Otherwise, you will. I'm saying something. Main thing is this: algorithm specifies how to encode a single pixel would be applied to every pixel in the image shared. Okay, a pixel p is split into 2 pixels or more. 2 comma 2 pay 2 pixels. So you can see in the slide there is a sections 2 comma 2 visual cryptography. There each pixel is divided into 2 pixels. Okay, so of 2 shares. Each such pixel is called share and it's called subpixel. Okay, I'll tell you. Better you go now. You will realize now. Concentrate. This is the just sufficient for today. You take a white pixel, right? So white pixel, then I'll give share 1 as like that, share 2 as like that. Okay, are you okay? Either that I can give or this I can give. There are 2 persons. I want to share pixel. What I will give, I will not give that pixel as it is, white pixel. I will not give white pixel. That white pixel now I made into 2 pixels, each subpixel, white, black, white, black. White, black I give to the first person, white, black I give to the second person. If they come together, if the superimpose, what they will get? White, black only, right? Otherwise, I can give this also, black, white, black, white. They come together, they stack on it, they will get black, white. Okay, whereas it is a black pixel. See, for first person I am giving white, black, but for second person I am giving black, white. If they come together, it becomes black. See, now in the new picture, white is not just white, it is black and white. Black is fully black. So that will take care. That's why there is some sort of contrast will be there. It is not as clear as the original picture. Any questions here? So is Vipin is here?
Yes. Why have you taken 2 cases in each of the?
No, any one of them you can give. White pixel come, right? I am in the black and white image. I take 1 pixel at a time. I got white pixel. Now the white pixel, what I will do, I'll give to 2 shares, 2 persons. I can take, I'll toss a coin. I'll take the first one or second one. So I have a flexibility. I can give that first share, first white, black, white, black, or I can also give black, white, black, white. It is not a problem. That's what I'm telling. Is it okay?
Yeah. Actually, sir, in the white pixel case, like when we superimpose, we are not getting back the same.
Same, because see, white pixel is no longer white now. It is black and white. Right? Black is black as it is. So so now that type of clear cut contrast, very beautiful thing, earlier picture, it is not that much clear. See,
Okay, so this way you showed us there
yeah.
also some.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay.
Yeah, see, actually original picture size is very smaller. Okay, so see now each pixel, now how many pixels? It is expanded horizontally. You see that? Hello.
It's doubled twice.
See, so for example, my image, you take a picture, you have a image, right? Image is nothing but pixels. Now that pixel size is, let us say, 50 cross 50. Now if I do this sharing business, then what is the size of the image now?
50 cross 100.
Very good, very good. Thank you. 50 cross 100, because now each pixel become 2 pixels horizontally, right? So one can do more techniques and more. So I'm
So
telling
the
one.
image will be stretched. You're saying?
Stretched. Image is stretched actually. Exactly. And in the stressing pay, again, white pixel now black and white, and black is black. So, but even then we can visualize it. That is a beauty. So that's what they found it. And so there is a contrast ratios and all. If you go depth, then subject is there. But the first instance is this, right? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so sir, I think in the second case it will be a little lighter than the black, right? When you are combining white and black, it will become a little lighter than black. That's why
Maybe,
I think.
maybe. But what I want to say is that, see, but from the shares they cannot get anything. You see that independent person, they are getting, so they do not know whether it is corresponds to white or black. So they do not have any information about the original. So 100 very perfect secure. Okay, so let us see something. Okay, some pictures I will show before going further. So that it will be much more better. So for example, this is so it is 3. I'm not written in another section actually. It is not 2 comma n. It is a 3 comma 3. Okay, so 3 comma 3 पे अभी क्या हो रहा है? White pixel I am giving to 3 people, right? They combine together, then they will get one. Still white is there. Okay, now that white pixel now become 3 shares, and 3 share now if you combine them, I'll get like this. Whereas black pixel, if I combine them, I'll get like this. Okay, now I'll we have some example. The first picture is the first share. Okay, each pixel, so for each white pixel comes, and I will first person I will convert white pixel to like this. Second person I'll give like this. Third person I'll give like this, right?
Sir,
So,
I think any 2 of this is fine to get white, right?
white may be, but you cannot get the figure actually. It is 3 comma 3 only. So I just give me. So see, yeah, let me complete first, then again we'll discuss further. Yeah, so this is the first image, second image, and third image. 3 people. If they combine, if I tell it, you'll get this. Now, but it is little bit expanded in both the upper as well as both the sides. It is, sorry, what, 1 minute. Yeah, it is 4 by 4. Yeah.
But actually, sir, like, how is this how we keeping the message secret?
Yeah, see, when we are giving the white pixel or black pixel, you are giving 2 whites and 2 black, so they will not get anything, na?
So, but like that Eve can get everything, like, and combine the image.
No. If the people come together, they can combine. But independent person, single person, how do you know that is related to black pixel or white pixel? The image is not at all clear. Completely 100%, nothing known.
Yes.
Yeah. Only
Yes, you can. Yeah, if you can manage all shares, then he can construct.
Yeah.
But
so all together come, then obviously yes.
But it is assumed that they have secret about it.
So okay, so actually mathematically you can say like this. See, so there are 2 matrices we will take, S0 and S1. It is 2 comma 2 visual cryptography. So there it will be like that. Okay, so I can permute the columns. Try to understand. So 0 0 1 1 S0. If I permute the columns, what happens? 1 1 0 0. So you can toss a coin and permute them. Okay, so then you can give that share to each pixel. Otherwise you can give directly also, but generally it is better do that part also for fun and other thing. We can write a programs easily. This one constructed from MATLAB code only, one of my student. So it possible, even Python codes are possible to do these things. Okay, so that is the first thing. And second point is that yeah, so if you go to more and more 2 comma n, 2 comma n, okay, so so these are the matrices. So 2 comma n visual cryptography, 2 comma n, so n people are there. If 2 of them can come, then only. So how to give n shares, and 2 out of n can get it. Now more expansion will be there, 1 0 0 0 0, like that. I hope this part is okay, right? So here you can see that as n increases, very complicated, contrast become more difficult. Yeah, so today just I want to give so that you can read the paper now. Nair and Shamir paper you can read. And so this is actually visual cryptography, whereas secret sharing, this is also part of secret sharing. I told you one polynomial method, but there are many other methods. Okay, see, if you are interested, you can look at the geometry configuration, block designs, vector spaces, matanoids, Latin squares, orthogonal arrays. So there are many methods to get the secret sharing techniques will be used. It is little different from the cryptography, right? Here secret is sharing. One secret is there that we are sharing. So here objective is completely different. Yeah. So just I want to tell these things only today. So I can share these slides. You can read it, and again we can start discussing later. Right? Yeah. So I stop now recording.